Today's message comes from the 5th chapter of Matthew, beginning with the first verse. When Jesus saw his ministry was drawing huge crowds, he climbed on a hillside, and those who apprenticed to him, the committed, climbed up with him. And arriving at a quiet place, he sat down and taught his climbing companions. And this is what he said. You are blessed when you are at the end of your rope. With less, there is more of God and God's rule. You are blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. You are blessed when you're content with just who you are, no more, no less. That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that can't be bought. You're blessed when you work up a good appetite for God. God's food and drink is the best meal that you'll ever eat. You're blessed when you care. At the moment of being careful, you find yourselves cared for. Did you catch that? At the moment that you find yourselves careful, you find yourself cared for. You are blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and your heart put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. You are blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete and fight. That's when you'll discover who you really are and your place in God's family. You are blessed when your commitment to God provokes persecution. The persecution drives you even deeper into God's realm. Not only that, count yourselves blessed every time people put you down or throw you out or speak lies about you to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort, and they are uncomfortable. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort, and they are uncomfortable. You can be glad when it happens. Give a cheer even. For though they don't like it, I do. And all of heaven applauds. And know that you are in good company. My prophets and witnesses have always gotten into this kind of trouble. Amen. Now, you'll notice that the title of the message was The Way of God and Not the World. And I was saying at the beginning of service that this was kind of it's odd how the lectionary works sometimes, that it seems to be right on cue with what's going on in the world. I had sat there all week when this flurry of executive orders started and all the protests started. I'm sitting there going, okay, what do I come to church? What do I say to my folks? What is the lesson that we can get? Now, there's some practical stuff, folks. Deb is so good at reminding me that when I send out a group text, that I haven't figured out yet how to send that group text out that gives somebody the opportunity to just respond to me and not include the whole group, right? And you know how tired you get getting those messages like that. So, since the pastor hasn't figured it out, the pastor just left certain people off the last text that he sent out. Amen? However, if you all are tired of that, how tired do you think you're going to be in 4 years? Okay? For those of you who are really worried, The one thing that this country has proven over and over and over again is that time heals and corrects everything. Given enough time, given enough voices that continue to speak the truth, justice in fact will happen. Now, how do we react? Well, I got to tell you, as much as we want this to be a group exercise, it's not. It's an individual exercise. It is, you have to make sure where you're at with God. You have to be able to measure that relationship. When I was doing the exegetical work, one of the writers said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." Now, this is the older translation, because what I gave you out of the Message was the newer. And the guy that did that translation work decided to come at it, I guess in the modern sense of being positive about it. You're blessed when. Here in the older version of it, it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those who are persecuted falsely." What these words mean, and what I read to you earlier in the New Translation, is that those who are living out their lives in faith, those who go about seeking to do what is right, those who are able to feel their pain and express it, those who are trying to show mercy, those who are willing to accept insult and injury for the sake of doing what is right, those who seek to make peace, those who are walking humbly before God, are met by God. I can't give you anything that is more important in the world that we live in. Because when you hear all the chaos that is out there around you, this is the time that you have to remember that your relationship with God comes in these Beatitudes that Jesus was teaching. This is when you inherit God. This is when you feel God in your life. It is when God strengthens you. It is when the blessings come. We have a person who years ago was a victim of child abuse. It was the Beatitudes that enabled her to get to the point where she could forgive her abuser. Think about that for a minute. Because I can't think of anything else. I mean, there's lots of things that we could talk about that are mean, nasty, horrible. I mean, what the President of the United States has done today is unbelievably horrendous. But you know, when you take and you physically abuse somebody, whether that be because you're beating them up or that you sexually molest them, how do you get past that? In practicing the Beatitudes, especially the point of having mercy, as she expressed it, she had no real anger left. She understood what had happened. She didn't like it. But it did enable her to pray for the perpetrator, that they might learn, that they might seek the mercy of God. Folks, when people are angry, when people are out there doing all kinds of unspeakable things. It doesn't get better if you get angry. It doesn't get better if you try to treat them the way they are treating other people. That is why I titled this, that God's way is not our way. You remember when Jesus said, "Peace I have come to give you, not as the world gives, but as God gives." Come back to this when you're challenged, and understand that you're blessed when you are content with who you are. You're blessed when you work up a good appetite for God. You are blessed when you care. You are blessed when you get inside the world with your mind and your heart. You are blessed when you can show people how to cooperate rather than fight. That's how we get through this. That's how we keep from becoming cynical and angry. It is how we understand that it is God's